Hello, guys, and happy Tuesday. I am so excited to bring this week's episode to you. I am bringing to you Dr. Nicole Nasser. She is an amazing therapist and also an entrepreneur that is launching her own platform for therapists called Journey. And she'll tell you more about it, but this episode is so good. This is the first time that I am recording with a therapist in person. This was recorded on a Saturday morning in Nicole's flat, and you can hear my dog Rabbit shaking in the background. It was a completely different experience, and I think it shows. But as per usual, I'm super keen to hear what you guys are thinking of the podcast so far. You can do this by leaving a comment on the podcast wherever you listen to this, or if you want something a bit more direct, you can DM me on the podcast Instagram page at We Found Therapy Pod. I'll leave you to listen to the episode now. I hope you guys love it as much as I did. I love you guys. I'll see you on the other side. Bye. Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Dr. Nicole Nasser. Nicole is the founder of Journey. She has over 7 years experience with private practice. Most of her clients are very ambitious adults. We both live in London, so she sees a lot of people with very high-profile careers that also want to expand their ambitions beyond their professional careers and do some work on themselves. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you, Isa. Thank you so much for having me.
Today, we're discussing the Valley of the 20-something-year-olds, Season 1, Episode 4 of Sex and the City. In this episode, Samantha and Carrie both engage with 20-something-year-old guys who are very fun. They describe them as the new designer drug. We know the girls are in their 30s. Samantha might be in her 40s for all we know. Carrie is also starting to hang out more and more with Big. Miranda is still hanging out with Skipper, who she dislikes more every episode. And Charlotte is dating somebody new. My first question to you, Nicole, is that as we see at the beginning of the episode, we're introduced with Carrie and Mr. Big running into each other all over New York. Eventually, they decide to bump into each other on purpose. We can get the impression that Mr. Big finally asked Carrie out for a thing. And Carrie is, I guess, a bit upset about the fact that he didn't call it a date. So I have two questions for you here. What do you think? Because sometimes girls, we tend to be a bit, astrological, magical. We think there is kismet. The universe is bringing us together. We are meant to be. And we tend to put all the universe's pressure onto this new guy and this new relationship that she barely knows. So what do you think about maybe us reading too much into things and then putting that pressure on something that still hasn't become anything? That's question number one. And question number two, do you think that Mr. Big was probably given already signal that he's not that emotionally available to Carrie by downplaying their meetup?
Let me start with question number two, since it's just here. We know at this point he's gone through his first divorce, and the guy is just having a good time. And I think he had a great connection with someone that he met, and he's just going with it without. And I would actually say that a lot of people who, and this is just in general, a lot of people who have already done the marriage thing, that especially that it's been not that great, whenever they come back on the market, there's generally this desire most of the time to take things a lot slower. It's almost like you got it out of your system and you know what it's like.
Yeah.
So people just feel sometimes the need to slow things down, to enjoy some of the things that, they didn't really get to maybe experience the first time. So in my professional opinion, what I also see with my clients is that a lot of the time, men and women actually that have already done the whole marriage thing at least once, or very long relationship, will take time before, labeling certain things, exactly for that purpose, for people not to jump to certain conclusions, faster than what they really want. So I think, calling it obviously a thing, and I think the first time they didn't even call it a thing. It was just let's meet up somewhere, but on purpose. That is definitely on purpose for that end goal of just, this is a casual thing, and I really need it to remain a casual thing. So I think him also not calling it like that, it's his own awareness of...
and managing expectations, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. However, you can tell that like he does like her, like there is a bit of a thing happening between them. This was for question number 2. Question number 1, there's something about when you say like, do we read a bit too much into the signs? Personally, I love reading into signs because personally, I don't necessarily believe that much in coincidences. I think everybody comes in your life. Even, journey with my company, the logo is basically 2 lines that are separate, and then they connect, and then they disconnect at some point, and then everybody goes their own way. Because that's really what happens a lot of the time with the people in our lives. Very rarely do you have people that just like stick for forever, really.
Yeah.
So for her to be reading a little bit into the science, I mean, if you think also about it, let's imagine that, it is 100% accurate. It's New York City. For you to be bumping into someone over and over and over again, you have to read a little bit into the signs. When you decide to abide by them, it gives you a bit of this comfort from the perspective of like, okay, so this is not completely random. There's something for me here to explore. And she does that. Like, I think she just, completely jumps into it. And
I love that.
Yeah, and she's happy about it.
I think sometimes for instance, I'm torn between being thrown into something that makes me feel butterflies in my stomach, like I think Carrie is, because I think that's wonderful, and holding yourself back from giving too much too soon. I think it's great that you believe in science. I also believe in the universe. I do think I would read it the same way that Carrie is. So what would be some good advice to maybe keep yourself grounded and let somebody feel the space?
The thing with signs is, I think it's a great thing to pay attention to them. The problem happens in the interpretation of the sign. So a lot of people will go like, I've seen this person, oh my God, we're meant to be together. But there's like a notion between, there's maybe something to explore there. There's something for me to take from this. Maybe a lesson, maybe an experience. Maybe through this person, I'm going to meet someone else. But it's the problem with the signs is just the interpretation of them. Yeah. And a lot of people, I think, are quick to create interpretations that actually have absolutely nothing to do with the actual event or the actual lesson or thing that you're supposed to take from this. So one thing that I would say is whenever these kind of signs happen, when you said, you don't necessarily jump at it arrogant enough thinking that like, what this is.
Yeah.
You don't know what this is.
Yeah.
For all you know is just, it's a sign that there's something to explore with this person. But again, the problem is you have already an expectation of what this is supposed to lead up to. Then you're going in with like an agenda, right?
Yeah.
And then the person in front of you might have a completely different agenda. And this is where like the incoherence between your experience and their experience starts happening, when in your mind it's like, but we bumped into each other so many times, we have a great connection. Like you start adding up certain variables, and in your mind you're like, well, this is supposed to lead up to this. But who told you? It's like when I say sometimes we can be arrogant enough, it's like we think that we know what's to come, you know? And when you mentioned, by the way, the butterflies in the stomach, I think it's an idea that has been so romanticized about the need of having butterfly in the stomach. And I'll just say this about the butterflies in the stomach. We've associated it with like good experiences because it's something that we feel as well with people that we have a great connection to, right? Yeah. But if you really think about the physiological aspect of butterflies in the stomach, it's also not to be confused with like intuition and something, bringing you closer to someone, because butterfly in the stomach is also a sign of very big stress. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of time when something also feels wrong or feels too much, for whatever reason, can come in the form of butterfly in the stomach.
Okay, so my conclusion is stick to the facts. If you're dating somebody that maybe you think is meant to be, like stay in the now, don't project. And then the second thing is also to not confuse something that you may feel physically in your body. It could be both your intuition telling you danger or a strong connection. So butterflies in the stomach are not...
Not always. If they're small, if they're like, if it's excitement, it's like you have to make the difference between excitement and something that is toxic, and we're sometimes attracted to that, right? Mm-hmm. When it's too much, when it's the drama, when it's like someone that is a bit, the bad boy kind of like figure, and Of course, they'll give you that because they're giving you a sense of insecurity. They're giving you a sense that, like, I'm unavailable. So if I'm making time for you, you're special.
So it's almost like being on a cliff, and obviously you have that vertigo.
Yeah.
So, okay, interesting. In the next scene, we go to the big opening of this restaurant that Samantha's PR company is managing, and all the girls are there. Miranda's bringing Skipper as her date. Charlotte has found her new boyfriend, which has her big threes, which is looks, manners, and money. And Carrie is meeting Mr. Big. And there are several things here that I think are worth talking about. What do you think about Charlotte's big threes? I think maybe start by that one because that one's easy.
It's repeated. It's money.
Money, manners, and looks. They're not bad threes.
They're not bad, but they're not the only threes that matters, right? I mean, yeah. Also, like if you think about it, it's also very her. It's like what matters to her, right? And none of these things are bad, but again, she approaches it in a way that, like, that's all that almost matters. Yeah. And that for me is such a sign of, like, immaturity, like love immaturity.
Yeah.
That you think that if you have those three, that it's good.
Yeah. And I think we see that with Charlotte, first choice for a husband, that I think she's enamored with this Stepford wife, white picket fence, cookie cutter life. And as long as it looks good from the outside is what she wants.
Yeah. But then you see her evolution, right?
Exactly.
And then you see who she ends up marrying. That for me was the biggest lesson of she finally got it. Yeah. But that's not what really matters.
No, I think she only sticks to money out of those three with her second marriage. Okay, and then Miranda's with Skipper, and she actually calls it a fuck thing with Skipper because Charlotte is like, I don't understand why you keep hanging out with this man. Do you think that Miranda has been as outspoken and clear about setting Skipper's expectations, and Skipper is just a hopeless romantic that thinks he's going to change her? Or do you think that Miranda's being a bit self-serving with this specific relationship?
Definitely self-serving, but I think unconsciously she doesn't realize that she actually likes him to some extent. And obviously Charlotte is not going to understand it because he probably has none of the big threes. Yeah. So this is not, and then also when your friends don't really understand it, it's very difficult when you're not fully convinced with it, and then people around you don't understand it. It's very easy to just, like, diminish it. Yeah. But I generally think that Miranda likes something of him other than the sex. And also, if the sex is good, it's probably because there's a good connection somewhere happening. Okay. And I think she really wants to deny that because there's just no future. And then we see it later, right? When like she sees him with another woman. Yes. And then obviously suddenly something becomes more attractive about him. It's the fact that someone else wanted something of him. Yeah. And she then also wanted those same things of him. Yeah. So there is something there, but she's just very much blocking it. It's like she refuses to even acknowledge that there can be something there.
Right. I have thoughts about that because this is a good segue into, we go inside of the restaurant and Samantha is sleeping with the chef of this restaurant, John, no H, no last name. We also get introduced to Sam. I'm going to call him Sam No Tits because, like, I normally call Samantha Sam. So Sam No Tits, they're both in their 20s. And Carrie's freaking out about seeing Mr. Big. She calls her answering machine and makes Miranda, who graduated first in her litigation class from Harvard, listen to the voicemail asking her, what do you think? Like, is he meeting me? Is he not meeting me? And is he not meeting me for a date thing or for a drink thing? What do you think? And she has no idea. I love how invested Miranda is. And she's like, yes, I'm going to be here for all your obsession about this guy and this answering machine voicemail. What do you think about Carrie being so obsessed about reading into every single little thing? Is she trying to project because he is giving her very little information, or it's just that she's decided that she is all in and therefore everything he does, little or no little information, means a lot to her?
By the way, I don't know if you remember, but that scene started with her saying, he's not coming, he's not coming. So she
Right.
drew a conclusion. And then a couple of minutes later, we realized that no, he said that he was coming, just he was coming later. And
Yes. She says something like something came up. He's not meeting
he's
me.
not not coming. Something came up for him. But then see if he's like ditching me on
Yes.
on a date level or something like that.
Yes.
But just from that one sentence, you realize that she jumped into conclusion. It's like she hears what she wants to hear, right?
Yeah.
And then the reason that she's so invested is because, well, first of all, she really likes him. So any message that she gets is like a massive clue.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's like a lot of space for interpretation and space for reflection. Now, also the nature of her job, I mean, I really go into the psyche of each of the episodes, but the nature of her job forces her to be very reflective and to be very inquisitive about everything that she sees.
Yeah.
If you even think about like all these like blog entry, column or everything that she has to write. I mean, she writes during her whole the whole series. It's always about that. It's always about taking small clues and then writing.
Make it the puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Making it a puzzle, going, into like this very insightful quest into what it means and all. So this is her, like, that's her status quo. And whoever is going to be friends with her will have to also engage on that level with her, because that's how she connects with the world around her. Like that's her, for me anyway, that the way that I see it is that's her way of living. Like, Carrie, without her curiosity and without going out and trying things and trying, to even getting her heart broken and all, like, what content does she really have?
Yeah.
So she's like her own experiment into her bigger experiment. And I find this so fascinating how, like, she's always willing to, I mean, again, do we have real Carries in real life? I don't know, because it's very emotionally up and down, like it's a lot, right? But that's like her life. She writes about what she experiences. So her going into so much details and all, like that's just part of her nature. She has to do these kind of things. Now, the interpretation that she does are poor, but on one hand, it's because she's very focused on the me experience, which I think we see eventually as well. But also she has very little information. So anything that he gives her is like...
She will squeeze for meaning as long as she can.
As long as she can.
This brings me to my other question that is related to what you mentioned about Miranda fancying Skipper more when he's with somebody else. Because then Carrie decides, you know what, I'm still going to have a good time. I'm in this very happening place. She decides to start flirting with Sam, no tits. And Big walks in as Carrie is holding this 20-something-year-old Sam's tongue. And my question is, do you think that's a good look or a bad look for Carrie? Because we know some women love to make another man jealous. And I think now that we have access to things like social media, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of fishing that happens for somebody to see, hey, somebody else wants me, or I can be with somebody else. So do you think that that was a good look for Carrie? And what would you think about a man or a woman like Miranda that wants someone more when they think they cannot have them?
And that scene, what was so interesting, by the way, was that he didn't care.
It did seem like he did not care.
Because, like,
he didn't blink twice.
He didn't blink twice. It didn't make him want to stay longer or sacrifice on his other plan or tell her to come with him, or he generally didn't care.
Yeah, he actually mentions it. He's like, and here you are holding somebody's tongue.
Yeah. And then they like chat for like not even a minute, because now he has to tell her that like he can't stay longer, and then he has to leave, and then he just leaves. And that for me was like such a good, mature response of him, that like I know it's like, do you see what I mean? It's like,
yes.
hey, I'm not
he wasn't for this.
I'm not falling for this, and he wasn't really triggered by it. And I think he did well, because had he done that, then again she would have taken that information, run with it, and like did something about it. So the fact that he really didn't blink twice for me is quite big. But in life, like with social media and all, we will do anything to get someone's attention. And that's just another thing that we're willing to do.
Yeah, and I think there's that rush of getting immediate reactions. Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. I love how you're putting Mr. Big in a good light, which I think, growing up, he was always romanticized, but now he's become a problematic figure. But I love that you're finding a lot of positives in his story.
And in those scenes, yeah, because I'm just
Yeah.
like, he's doing his thing. He's again, he's like
Yeah.
a divorced man in his 40s in New York City, doesn't have kids. He's having a good time, and then he happens to bump into this woman who's like all about the relationships, all about the connection, all about the analysis, and he finds her intriguing, but it's a very gradual thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a very gradual thing, and that for me anyway shows like some sort of maturity. It's not.
No, I agree. Then on the other side of this, I think Carrie doesn't show that much maturity. I don't know how you feel about this, but then after he leaves, I think Carrie is just a bit let down. And sometimes when you feel let down by something that you've decided that you're going to care so much about, you do want to compensate. And she decides to compensate by going with John No H and Sam No Tits and Samantha to a 20-something-year-old club. And she is being silly, being flirty, really enjoying herself. You can see that she does not care that much about this guy. Like, it's just something that it's fun and it's happening. They start making out. What do you think about her reaction to this? Do you think that it shows a bit her immaturity and insecurities? And my other question that I think might be a bigger one, what do you think about couples where there's a big age gap?
Okay. Two very different questions.
Yes.
Okay. For the first one, I don't think it shows that much immaturity in the sense that she's mirroring a bit Big's way of seeing her. It's like Big has this thing where he has his life, and then Carrie happened to enter his life at some point.
Yes.
But he hasn't stopped his life for her. And what it feels like is that she's done exactly the same thing. He's like the main thing, the constant, but then she won't stop her life for him. So when he leaves, it's not that she goes to like Samantha and Miranda and is like, he came, he left. Like, I know that probably if this was me, I would have made a scene about the fact that like he came, he left, he didn't ask me. Like, do you see what I mean? It's easy to get into that. And he didn't bat his eyes. She did exactly the same. She's like, okay, well, he left. All right, let's go and have a good time with whoever I am with in that moment. So that for me is also like a sign of maturity in the sense that she didn't stop her life because of that. And then you also see it the next day, right? He asked her out for a drink thing.
Yes.
And then she goes in. And I remember watching the scene yesterday and I was just like, well done her, because she came to that drink knowing that it was just going to be her and both of them. And then that friend shows up.
Yes.
And she's like, that guy is not taking me seriously. And you know what? I really want to spend time with him, but I'm not that desperate to spend time with him.
I love that. And I think...
Yeah, that was very
because
good.
You asked if there were Carries in this world. I do think I am a Carrie because I was reading into it. And I was like, okay, he keeps asking her out, but like not really on a date. Is it like, I think he keeps leaving Easter eggs about, hey, I am not that serious about this. I don't have that much invested into this because I don't mind prioritizing something over our dinner or thing that he initially bailed on. And then somebody called him crying and he brings him with him when he knows that he's already had one strike. So I thought, okay, are you literally just, the more you see this girl maybe be a bit into you, the more you're going to be like, Easter egg not available, Easter egg not available, or Easter egg not that invested.
He is not taking it that seriously, definitely. But also, like one could argue, like why would he? She's just, she's another woman that he met probably along the way that he had a connection with, and like they're trying it out. Again, if you really want to think about like universe and signs, I mean, this is really like stepping out of it. But maybe these are all signs that he's not ready for something. That if it was more forced, that probably it wouldn't have worked out the way that it did. Clearly, the guy is like he's one step in, but like 10 steps out.
Yeah.
Which again, I think she reads correctly. For me, that scene where she's like, you know what, you stay with him, have a boys' night, drinks on me. I mean, at the end, she's like, absolutely. You can tell that like
Yes.
she's angry. It's like, but just that move of like standing up for her own self and be like, no, I deserve to have like a one-on-one date. And in the episode, it shifts because even at the end, she wants him to chase her, and she got it. She's like, no, okay, enough. This is not an equal thing anymore. You want me, you're gonna have to chase, and he does that. Like eventually, we know that he does that.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring you back to my other question that was a big one. We know Mr. Big is in his 40s, Carrie's in her 30s. There's this 20-something-year-old guys. Do you have, as a therapist, any views on maybe couples where there's a big age gap? And does it say anything about maybe a woman going after older men? Is that automatically daddy issues? A woman going after younger men, even if she's still in her 30s, does that mean immaturity? Like, do you see any, and I know you guys don't like to generalize, but do you see any big patterns that tend to come with those age gaps?
Okay, if we talk about patterns, yeah, we can definitely say that there are some, because what you go for is how it feels to be with this person. And if what it feels to be with this person is security, safety, some sort of, like a stability, it feels like you're being looked after, it feels like that, it's because you are after those feelings. Now my big question, especially as a therapist, is why are you after those feelings? Were you missing them somewhere in your childhood, especially in your childhood, that is making you go and seek them? Now you can, and for a lot of these people, these kind of feelings, this is, by the way, a pattern that usually starts when you're younger. So even when you're like 14, 15, 16, you're attracted towards men that provide these kind of things. We're talking about men and women, just for this sake. But this is something, it's not that you're suddenly 28 and you're like, okay, I'm going to go with someone that is like 45 for those reasons. No, it's that you look for those feelings in all of your relationships. And sometimes you might try them out with someone your age and you're like, but I'm not getting that. And then through that like experiment, you realize that, wait, I get more of these feelings that are very important for me for X reason with men that are a bit older. So automatically your whole system becomes a lot more attracted to that, because that's something that you missed somewhere along the way. Obviously, This is a massive overgeneralization.
Yeah.
But this is the pattern. And when you go for younger, it's a little bit different, because you can be with younger people that feel the same age as you, and that's different. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I am yet to see someone who married someone younger because they're just so cool and immature and it's up and down. And do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the time when you see this, it's because that person,
the younger one, is very mature.
Most of the time.
Do you think, though, that in your 20s, you're still growing as mature as you can be? There's a higher chance that you might grow apart from your partner because there's a lot more journey to be, wink, wink to your company.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I think it depends why they are so mature at 20. So I'll give you two examples. You can be mature at 20 because unfortunately you had to be, because you come from a household where the parents were not mature enough. You had to grow up a lot faster. You had to take care of the parents. So that for me is it's very sad if someone is so mature in their 20s because of those reasons.
Yeah.
Because that for me means that like they skipped a very important part of their life where they had to be taken care of. And they understood that no one is ever going to take care of me, so I have to step in. And that usually, I mean, again, massive overgeneralization, but a lot of the time this ends in the person burning out at some point. I mean, what they call, like midlife crisis or anything like that. You have a lot of those people that, just did everything right from a very young age. We're always correct. And that for me is a bit scary.
Yeah.
If someone is that mature for those reasons, I'm like, this is dangerous territory. It's like there's a lot that you're carrying.
It'll probably come to a point where there's maybe resentment or something for missing out.
Exactly. And then, I mean, all of us, we tend to project, and you can start projecting on this. It can be very messy. Now, you naturally have people that have had very stable, beautiful childhood where, you know, parents used to take care of them, but just intrinsically, they're very mature. They like things and they're attracted to things that they just come with like a sort of wisdom at a very young age. Now, my explanation of it, again, this is a very spiritual explanation. I do believe a lot in like you have one soul and many bodies.
Yeah, so past lives and maybe
Exactly,
you're being,
you know, so you just sometimes I mean, you can even see like 6, 7 years old, you look at them and you're like, my God, it feels like you're 50, you know, you feel like anyway, you can just feel like they've lived so many lives. And then you have, some of those people, when they're mature in their 20s, you feel like it's not coming from a lack. It's just really part of their essence.
Yeah.
It's not that they had to grow up faster. It's just that that's who they've always been. Like, it's very,
Okay. Now we're going to take a U-turn because there's one scene when Carrie's actually on her way to meeting Mr. Big, where Charlotte calls her and Carrie's freaking out because she's trying to get ready, look beautiful. I can see that she's in the zone, you know? She just wants to decide what kind of woman she's going to come across as, and she has no time for Charlotte, and Charlotte is like, I have a question, and I have to pose it now, and Carrie's like, you have 2 minutes. And then Charlotte says, my new boyfriend, the one with money, looks, and manners, wants to discuss whether or not she'd be open to having anal. And for this, I will say, like, Carrie comes across as both a very good friend and a bad friend in this episode. In this case, I think she's a very good friend because she's like, okay, I'm coming to pick you up. We'll discuss this. This is going to be the sex part of the therapy today. But what do you think about the girls' conclusions when they're all in that cab discussing it? Because I think Miranda's like, this is about respect. Will he respect you more or less after you say yes? I think she also says that there's a shift in power, which I have discussed this with a gay male friend of mine who said that there is a shift in power. And then, you know, we have good old Samantha saying a hole is a hole. What do you think, especially knowing Charlotte? And eventually we see Charlotte saying, I don't know what I want, but I'm scared that you'll dump me if I say no. And if I say yes, I'll be the up the butt girl, and nobody marries the up the butt girl. I think the reasons for her decision making are a bit flawed, but what do you think? Number one, what do you think about the girl's advice? And two, what do you think about Charlotte's navigation of this?
I think it's like, it's so... it fits so much their characters, right?
Yeah.
Like Miranda being the lawyer, feminist, empowerment. Yes. Like, you wouldn't expect anything else coming from her. And then Samantha, who's so comfortable with her sexuality, who's also very adventurous, who's also, she generally does just see it as like another whole. It's just another way of experiencing sexual pleasure. But you see, it's like I absolutely, I love this scene because you look at it and you're like, it can generally be all of these things put together.
Yeah.
And I'm very much of a woman that really believes that there's no right or wrong answer in a lot of things in life. Mm-hmm. It really is about like what feels right for you and what feels wrong for you. And you can already tell that the simple fact that Charlotte has picked up the phone, called Carrie to tell her in full panic, that's it. You had your answer right there.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't need to go
That's a very good answer.
You know, like you didn't need to go and ask all of your friends and like do, obviously, again, it's a TV series. Like you have to like spice it up in this kind of way. And the taxi scene is one of my favorite in the whole seasons because it's just so good. And even at the end, like when someone like almost
rear ends
there. And then both of them, it felt just such a natural scene, like something that I would have also experienced with my girlfriend. So I love that scene for that, and I'm so happy that they did it. But right there and then, Charlotte knew that like the answer is no. It doesn't feel right for her. And Charlotte and Carrie, both of them, are a bit more similar in the sense that they would be willing to do things down the line in a relationship where it's like, we're experimenting things together. It takes time, you know, we want a connection, we want to build stuff, blah, blah, blah. Whereas like Miranda, even if she gets to a point where she would be okay with it, still has like massively these like social construct of what it means.
Right.
Whereas Samantha, it's like the social construct don't exist for her. Okay. She's really into just the experiential.
She's a trisexual. She will try everything once.
Yeah.
I'm going to push you a little bit, though, because I think it's very interesting that Miranda says, will he respect you more or less if you do it? And I thought, okay, if this were Samantha, Samantha would not care whether he would respect her more or less after she did it, because she would have done it for herself. And in that case, I even think that that wouldn't matter to the man, because you can see that she's doing it for herself. Whereas I think if Charlotte went ahead, did it, enjoyed it, and then she, for whatever reason, read in the guy that he respect her less, and I am sure that she'd be fishing for cues to read whether he respected her more or less, then she would feel ashamed of her choice. So do you think that like you will always be the one that agrees or doesn't agree to it? Do you think that you'll be the one that decides whether or not that will be a respect issue? Or do you think that maybe when you are in a committed relationship, like Charlotte is portraying us to be in this episode, do you think that if you see your partners losing respect or changing after getting something that he asked for, that will automatically make you more insecure in the relationship?
But can I just ask, what's the link between anal sex and respect?
Very good question, Nicole. I actually have a guy friend. So Nicole's Lebanese, I'm Spanish. Spain is not Catholic officially, but we're very old school. And I remember once when I was in college, we were all sitting for brunch or dinner. We were living in the US. So we were in New York having dinner, some Spanish guys and some Spanish girls. And we were talking about sex. And one of the guys was talking about this girl going down on him. And in the conversation, he said, my wife won't be doing that. This is something that I get to do with girls that I have fun with. So I think, to me, this is an extrapolation. Like, anal can be put in that same category of, you're taking something or you're enjoying something that maybe she didn't put on the table. It's for you. And we know that they talk about blowjobs later in the show, and they say that you actually have the power because you have them by the balls. But I remember then I made an association that some men may see that as denigrating to women. And I'm going to go and take a huge leap and say anal could be put in that same category.
Yeah, probably. But then a person that thinks like that will put a lot of things into that category. Not just
So
not
if
just
you
anal.
if you think that that man would have respected less Charlotte, then he's not going to be a good partner anyway.
I think if their sexual relationship overlaps with the respect that he has for her as a person, I think then for me, this is someone that I don't want to get anywhere near, even on a like friendly level. Like do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean.
Is that these things should not have anything to do with respect.
Right.
It's like, it's because it's supposed to be around like a certain connection for both of you, you know?
Yeah.
It's like kissing. It's like, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you think that once you decide that this is a good, healthy, safe relationship, then sex should be something where you can both explore, but respect will never be on the line.
Exactly. 100%.
Perfect.
And if it is, like that guy that you were talking about in New York that says that,
yeah.
it's because he has a very limited perception of what a wife is supposed to be. It's like he's put her into specific categories, and being like, someone that you adventure yourself in sex or you experience things together is not that. So he's created that condition. And that for me is like, okay, if he's put a limit to what she can be.
Yeah.
He's not talking about a person. He's talking about a role. He's talking
about the mother of his children.
Exactly.
And the mother of his children won't go on her knees and won't take it up. But see,
I don't want to marry someone, or I don't want to be with someone that sees me as the mother of their children. For me, and I've always said that the relationship will always be more important than any other relationship. It's at the center of it. So it's me and this person. And then our kids come, and then our siblings and our parents and our friends and all of that. So it's both. Yeah, it's both people. So that for me just puts a bit the line into the types of relationship that you want to be in. So when Miranda talks about that, I'm just like, wow, okay, she's linking this to that. I understand why, because obviously, she's talking about men that can, objectify women that have done that. But a real proper relationship wouldn't even make you put those two things together.
Okay.
They don't belong together.
Very good. But I think, unfortunately, for instance, in my country, I can see some men that is still will only marry a certain type of woman, and they will probably cheat on them because...
Yeah?
Yeah.
But, it's because they're operating from an ego place. They're not operating from a soul place.
Yeah.
They're not going for that soul connection. They're going for, who's the woman that's going to make me look good the best, Who's the woman that's, that has slept with the least amount of men that, I have less chances of coming across. And this is pure ego.
Okay, very good. Then on the sex theme of the episode, Carrie then, because she leaves, she goes to this non-date with Mr. Big. Mr. Big brings a third wheel. She leaves and she leaves her cat fare on the table. So she has to walk home and she passes by the 20-something club, goes in, runs into Sam No Tits or 20-year-old Sam, and they start kissing. And I love how the writers commit to a bit and they will explode it through the episode. And here, because 20-something-year-olds are the designer drug, she says, but just to take the edge off, but the kisses are not enough. I need more. And she ends up sleeping with him. And she seems to really enjoy herself. She's, giving consent, enjoys herself. And just when she thought she couldn't get any higher, he spooned her. Mm. And then we fast forward to the morning, and in the harsh light of day, she's like, damn, I'm in a 20-something-year-old apartment. Everything's a mess. What do you think about her not getting high enough just from the kisses? What do you think about her looking for that high after maybe feeling rejected or let down by Mr. Big? How would you have navigated that or taught a client how to navigate that?
So for me, those two moments that she has with Sam No Tits are very different.
Yeah.
Because one, it's like she was experiencing like a connection with someone. Big came, interrupted. Big left. She continued what she was going through, right? Whereas this one she was going for A, and then A didn't provide, and actually A probably hurt. Yeah. So she needed to go to B to make herself feel better. Yeah. So the use of the drug is also very different. Yeah. Right? That's number one. So do you see how they're different? Yes. The use of the drug. That's number one. Number two, the drug is only, with him, it's only a physical thing, actually more of a sexual thing, because there's nothing else. Yeah, there's no intellectual, there's no like intellectual connection. There's no story. He's not funny. He's not like, there's nothing. It's just that. So yeah, like kissing will be fun. I mean, in reality, maybe by the third or fourth time, it would feel like it's not enough, right? Yeah. Not maybe from the second time. But anyway, there's just, obviously when something has like run its course, you need more of it and more of it and more of it until it explodes like it did on the next day, where she's like, actually, I'm like the negative of it felt a lot more than the positive. Yeah. It's like the next time she probably wouldn't have been able to kiss him and think about sex because she knows exactly what room she's walking in. So it's just, it's like it's run its course. It's done. It's given as much as it could give.
I said that Carrie was a good friend and a bad friend in this episode, and I say that she's a bad friend, but maybe that's just her boundary. At one point, there's a scene where she's with Miranda. They're talking about where single 30-year-olds have gone, and Miranda says, by the way, wearing a tie, so I was wrong. She does wear a tie again. She says Giuliani had them removed along with homeless people.